Well, welcome to Element Youth Devotionals. We are so glad that you are with us. Sorry, I was just jamming out a little bit there as I prepared for this. And man, we are glad that you are with us as we finish our devotional capacity student leadership. So we have been having a lot of fun looking at this and just learning how to be leaders and how to step up as leaders. So, hey Bree, how's it going? Hi Heather. So anyways, we're gonna jump into this here in just a moment. I'm gonna give some people a little bit of time to get on here and let's. I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys up to? What are you doing? To stay busy. I know this seems like something that we're asking like all the time, but really it's just so that I know what I can do to stay busy. I'm just kidding. But I'd love to hear from you guys, what you're doing, what you're up to. And something like I would love for you to put in the chat something that you are actually enjoying about this quarantine time, this time that you are able to be at home, something that you are enjoying doing, or something that has maybe relieved a little bit of stress in your life or made something easier. I don't know. Think of something that you have enjoyed, and we will get started here in just a moment. If you haven't already, click the thumbs up, like the video, and then also share it on your social media. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you guys are here. And like I said, we're finishing up with day number 5 of capacity student leadership. So we've been looking at, Heather, hanging out with your husband, hanging out, we work in the same office. You can actually see her workstation there behind me. And we have been hanging out. We've been playing dice. I think it's called 10,000 or something like that. And so that's been fun. So we want to hear from you though. What have you been doing? What have you been up to? And how have you been staying busy? What have you been enjoying about quarantine? So I'm gonna jump into this today. The devotional was from 1 Timothy 4, 12 through 16. Bree said spending more time with Jesus and hanging out with her family. That's awesome. That is a great thing to be doing right now. And honestly, I hope that even when things go back to normal, that there's something that changes to where our culture shifts a little bit to where we make more time for our families. It's funny, you don't realize like how busy you are until you're forced to not be busy, until you're forced to stay home and do nothing. And you realize just how much you fill your time with other things. So I hope that it holds after this. But anyways, in 1 Timothy 4, verses 12 through 16, it's talking about how you shouldn't let anyone look down on you because of your age. Paul is talking to Timothy here, and really it's kind of funny because if you look at the context, Timothy would have been about 45 at this time, but it's still relevant to you as a teenager watching this video, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it later on. That verse is still relevant to you, that you shouldn't let anyone look down on you because you're too young. You shouldn't let anyone tell you that you're too young to do great things, because see, Timothy, while he was like 45, that would have been considered very young for the things that he was doing. He was leading a mega church and he was doing some amazing things. And in that culture, in that day, it would have been the equivalent of a teenager in today's culture stepping up and leading in major, major ways. He would have been leading men who were older than him. And in that culture, that just wasn't something that typically happened. So I want to encourage you that God has big plans for you, and He has designed you on purpose for a purpose. And don't believe the lie that you're too young. You right now, today, you have the ability to set an example for everyone you come in contact with. Now, that's a little bit easier right now because we're in quarantine, and so everyone you come in contact with are your family. But even outside of that, when you start coming in contact with people at work or people, your neighbors or your friends, or when you get back to school in the fall, your teachers and your principals, you can set an example for everyone in your life. You can make a difference because you don't have to wait until you're older or wiser or more mature. God will use you right now as you are. One of my favorite quotes, and I think I've said this recently, but one of my favorite quotes is, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And he has called you to do great things, and he will qualify you for those great things. You don't have to wait until you reach a certain status or level. You just have to start taking the steps that he puts in front of you. So live up to what God's calling you to and who he has made you to be. Give yourself to those things entirely. Don't be half-hearted about pursuing the things that God has for you in your life, but step out and chase them with all that you are. If you do, you'll see God do something amazing, something awesome, and he'll do some very exciting things in and through your life. You have to step out and do the natural for God to be able to turn it into supernatural. So go and live life enjoying God and who he made you to be. Glorify him with all that you have and all that you are. So in 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 12 through 16, it says, don't let anyone... Hold on just a second here. All right. Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young. Be an example to all believers in what you say and in the way you live and in your love, your faith, and your purity. All right, I need to read this from up here. That's what's throwing me off. All right. Until I get there, focus on reading scriptures to the church, encouraging the believers and teaching them. Do not neglect the spiritual gift you have received through the prophecy spoken over you when the elders of the church laid their hands on you. Give your complete attention to these matters. Throw yourself into your tasks so that everyone will see your progress. Keep a close watch on how you live and how you're teaching. Stay true to what is right for the sake of your own salvation and the salvation of those who hear you. I would just encourage you guys, make sure that you are, being an example. Live in a way that is glorifying to God, that you are constantly thinking through. It's kind of funny because when I was younger, they had bracelets that were super popular that had WWJD, what would Jesus do? And, it's kind of, I would say it's kind of maybe a silly, way to think about it. But really, we should be thinking about it that way. Like, not silly in a way of like, oh, that's silly, don't do it. But like a silly, like, it seems like something, at least for me, nostalgic because it's from my childhood. But, it's so true. We should be thinking, what would Jesus do? And if we're living the way that Jesus would live, if we're choosing to live our lives in a way that glorifies him, then we are going to be an example for those around us. And as we start living as an example, we will see that people begin to follow. If you want to be a leader, you have to be someone worth following, because ultimately a leader is someone who has people following them. So I hope this encouraged you today. If it really spoke to you in any way, share it, post it out there and have your friends watch it as well. So thank you guys for coming. I want to leave you with a prayer as we close out. Lord, I thank you for each person who is watching this right now as they watch it. Lord, I thank you that you are touching their lives. God, that you are raising them up to do some amazing things. That, God, you haven't called them to just be getting by in life. That you haven't given them a dream that is only relevant for their future, but God, that you have called them to something right now in the season that they are in this moment. God, I thank you that we can be an example even for those who are older than us and further along in life. God, I thank you that you empower us to do that. We praise you, we exalt you in Jesus' holy name. Amen. Thank you guys for coming. We are so excited. If you haven't already, check out all of our services this weekend, or one of our services this weekend, elementchurch.com. You can find it on the Element Church app or on Facebook at Element Church MO. Pastor Eric will be starting a new series called You Asked For It. And so it's going to be an amazing time of Pastor Eric answering some amazing questions. So you don't want to miss it. Check that out this weekend. We have services on Saturday and Sunday. And then starting next Monday, we will start a brand new reading plan. So check that out. We will be sending that out. If you don't already follow our YouVersion, make sure that you like us or become our friend or whatever it's called on YouVersion. And that's how we send that out. We send an invite to all of our friends on there. And so we will be sending that out this weekend. We also have a link in the description that you can follow and find us. We are, I believe, Element Youth 90 or EY 90, one of the two on YouVersion. So we would love to see you there. Thank you guys so much for coming. We will see you all on Monday as we start a brand new devotional. Have a great weekend.